Hey guys, welcome to my channel again. Today, we're going to be reviewing an article that is written by three different authors: Sarah Jensen Clayton, Henry Vranick, and then Evelyn Hall. The topic is leading ecosystems in the business environment. Leading ecosystem in a business environment. Now, today's CEOs, that's Chief Executive Officer's job description, is being crowdsourced, with nearly every segment of society registering their expectations and demands. And employees, customers, suppliers, governments, and activists. The world is looking for CEOs who will take a stand on social issues. According to research, as the job description of CEOs changes, so does the playbook of successful leadership. What was previously out of scope is now being included, necessitating difficult decisions about who and what to prioritize. And the abilities needed to succeed go beyond traditional command and control tactics to include things like influencing without formal authority. If CEOs are to fulfill their new job descriptions, they must evolve into different type of CEOs. An enterprise leader who also oversees the ecosystem in which their company operates, which include customers, suppliers, partners, competitors, governments, and the local communities. While few CEOs have taken on the role entirely, research has shown that there are several steps, or some of which we will look at, that is required in order to be able to effectively do this. But I've mentioned the word ecosystem severally, but first and foremost, what is an ecosystem? Um, we'll look at it that the simplest definition of an ecosystem is that it is a community or a group of living organisms that live and interact with each other in a specific environment. And so also we've had this in business environment. And so in looking at this thing, strategies and chief executive officer can use to navigate through. The first thing we want to look at is that you know the players. Know the players. Know the players in the sense that you have to demonstrate an insatiable test for knowledge like no other. The CEOs of the future will have to demonstrate an insatiable test for knowledge like no other generation before them. As a CEO must map his or ecosystem in the same way that an ecologist studies the interaction of birds, corals, fish, mollusks with one another and with the environment. While these organisms compete with one another, they also rely on one another. The CEO and the broader ecosystem in which he operates face the same challenges, which is why he or she must seek to understand each ecosystem member's strengths, their vulnerabilities, and relative contributions, the connections that make entities reliant on one another. How external factors could jeopardize the ecosystem's ability to function, the ability of the ecosystem members to adapt to a changing environment. This is also very, very important. The next thing you need to look at is you give your senior leaders authority. Give your senior leaders, you empower the senior leaders. Empower the senior leaders. And this is important because time spent influencing the enterprise ecosystem takes away from time spent running the business. If CEOs are to expand beyond their traditional responsibilities, they will need a team of seasoned talents who have been groomed to not only lead their functions but also to be enterprise leaders rather than getting involved in day-to-day operations. The most effective CEOs focus on inspiring a sense of direction that unleashes collective energy and shared purpose across the organization. This is very, very important. And the third thing you should look at is also that you cultivate an enterprise mindset and ecosystem skill set. Develop an entrepreneurial mindset and ecosystem skill set. This is very, very important. This necessitates CEOs considering not only the success of their company, but also how they can contribute to the creation of a healthy network in which their company and society as a whole can thrive. The ecosystem skill set enables the CEO to act beyond their traditional sphere of influence to build networks that benefit both business and society as a whole. Today, CEOs in particular must focus on developing four core competencies. They must focus on developing four core competencies, which is the ability to emotionally and intelligently even look at things, even radically human, by displaying curiosity, openness, and vulnerability, as well as responding to others within genuine interest and sympathy. They must be able to do that because inability to do that will cut them off a level of influence that they are supposed to um, operate in. The ability to balance stakeholder needs while looking for opportunities to create shared value and convert competitors into collaborators. It is very, very important. The ability to lead by influence with little to no formal authority, relying on reputation and peer respect, mastery of the ecosystem landscape, commitment to win-win outcomes, and willingness to compromise when those outcomes are not possible. You see, the ability to adopt a public personnel and respond to a much larger group of stakeholders. This necessitates poise, confidence, knowledge of ecosystem issues, and frankly speaking, this push you to the next level and make you to have a full grasp of what is happening in the ecosystem in which you operate in. Fourth thing we look at is that you build the infrastructure. You build the infrastructure. For example, while businesses are built from ground up to facilitate collaboration towards a common goal, ecosystems are frequently disconnected, made up of discrete parts, loosely organized, and without formal governance. CEOs and non corporate leaders are collaborating to fill the void by creating a super layer that sits above the individual entities and helps to coordinate, if not govern, an ecosystem effort. CEOs are being called upon to lead industry coalitions, public private partnerships, and various societal movements. A platform that enables members to act and openly share their successes and challenges with one another. The coalition believes that the public sharing of value and meaningful actions help members achieve diversity, equity, and inclusion goals more quickly than they could even imagine. What they cannot achieve without a shared purpose, commitment, and platform, this will be achieved when they come together. And the last thing we'll look at there is the fact that you need to anticipate risk. They should be prepared for risk because risk is unavoidable. CEOs who accept the call to action for stakeholders outside the four walls of their companies do so at their own risk. They are venturing into uncharted territory. They must and they may be volunteering to address contentious ecosystem issues for which there are no simple solutions. They may have to deal with investors who talked about social responsibilities but have little patience for foregoing short term gains in exchange for long term creations. Almost all are agreeing to navigate a tangled web of social and political interests that may disappoint and even alienate some stakeholders. And there's always the risk of CEOs taking on too much between home and the ecosystem and resulting in a lot of activity but little impact. To mitigate this kind of risk, CEOs should exercise caution when entering ecosystem waters, working with the board, industry experts, trusted advisors, and peers from other organizations. They must determine where their efforts will yield greatest return. They must maintain frequent and open dialogue with stakeholders, groups, and they must not deviate too far from their day jobs, even with trusted senior team of enterprise leaders. The most effective CEOs in today's world recognize that no one is an island. No CEO, no company, no industry, no country. The lines have become permanently blurred, and CEOs must seize the opportunity to help shape our shared future as enterprise leaders who are moving across and beyond to influence the entire ecosystem. This is very, very important. And you can find the reference for this in this particular slide. And this is very important. Thank you for watching. Please do not forget to click on like, share, or take your time to subscribe if you want to get more informing videos like this. Thank you.